Cyberbullying. I don't know why my name's cut off there, but that's all right. So today we're going to be, covering some standards of learning. So these are the students will be able to demonstrate an understanding of health concepts, behaviors, and skills that reduce health risks and enhance the health and wellness of self and others throughout life. And again, we're still focusing on I will protect myself from physical violence. Now, so some objectives for today. Students will be able to identify an appropriate response to experiencing cyberbullying online from a list of potential responses. So that's something I want you guys to pay attention to in the lesson today. And you will also be able to list 4 forms of cyberbullying. There'll be more than one that we're going to talk about, obviously. All right, so everyone's going to pay attention to up here. You're going to watch this video and just keep in mind some of the major points that he makes. Everyone keep quiet, please. So that's a pretty moving video. All right, so based off of this video, I'm not going to approve your messages, so we're going to discuss the pros and cons of using digital media. I just want to give you guys 1 minute just to put up all your initial thoughts. Just type them in, press submit, and they should appear on the board here. You can pair up, ask your friends what you would think. But just start putting up ideas and then we'll discuss them. Try to come up with at least 2 pros, 2 cons if you can, or at the very least 1 of each. Just a few more seconds. Alrighty. So just to come up with some, makes life easy, faceless bullying. Who came up with faceless bullying? That's a really good one. It's true. People get all cocky because they think, oh, they can't see me, and they get really confident, when actually it's no different than saying it to a person's face, and it's still just as harmful. And of course, there's some great stuff, like easy to communicate with the family. That's definitely a great one. Staying connected across the world, easy communication. But again, as there's another one over there, Mama Shark, people tend to be more confident online and makes it easier for them to bully. That's definitely true. A lot of great stuff here. So I like to see. All right, getting into the meat and potatoes of our lesson today. What is cyberbullying? So again, you're filling in your notes as we go. Cyberbullying is a form of bullying that purposely uses digital media to spread embarrassing, false, or unkind information about others. Cyberbullying can occur using methods such as social media, so that's your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as websites, blogs, emails, texting. And of course, even today, there's tons more methods that people can use. You're fine. You can borrow from a friend. All right. I want you guys to take literally just your first initial thoughts, again, based off of your notes that you should now have. Cyberbullying is deliberately using blank to communicate false, embarrassing, or hostile information about another person.
First in the chat. Speak to yourself. Ooh, she walked by. I see.
All right, good. Everyone's in. So again, I don't want to expose people's answers here, but the answer is digital media. So again, we're recalling that for our notes. Perfect. Now, these are the different types of cyberbullying. The first is flaming. This is directing angry, inappropriate, or rude messages to a person or persons through either a group or privately. Then there's harassment. Harassment is sending another person rude, mean, or offensive messages over and over again. Again, it's continually hounding them with that. Then we have denigration, which is posting or sending false and/or mean statements regarding another person to others. And then finally, we have cyberstalking, which is a highly intimidating form of stalking or threats to cause another person harm. So again, this is just a handful of the ways that people can bully online, and all are equally harmful. Everyone have that? All right, so now we're gonna pair up. Again, you're gonna take 30 seconds. You're gonna pair up and try to pair up the different terms with the definition. So it will show up here if you've actually done it, so try to get through it. So you just tap them, yep. 4 to 4, nice job. 2 more people working on Mama Shark and Mom. Everyone good? So the answers were flaming, directing inappropriate or rude messages to a person or persons through either a group or privately. Harassment was sending another person rude, mean, or offensive messages. Denigration is posting or sending false and/or mean statements regarding another person to others. And then cyberstalking is a highly intimidating form of stalking or threats to cause another person harm. So again, paying attention because you're still being tested as we go here. This is going to help you with the retention at the end. All right, a few more. Exclusion is intentionally trying to reject someone from an online group. Masquerading is sending or posting material under a false identity that causes someone to look bad or places another person in danger. And then we have outing and trickery, which is dispersing or posting sensitive, embarrassing, or private information, which is posting images or private messages publicly. So those are the last 3. Everyone have that? Perfect. Again, let's try with that matching. 30 seconds start now. There's just 3. You can pair up if you need to. Again, it's always good to collaborate with other people for learning. Nice. Just waiting on a few more people. Last one. Who are we waiting on here?
Mom's broken.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Again, just to review those, exclusion is intentionally trying to reject someone from an online group. It's masquerading, which is sending or posting material under a false identity, that's the kicker, that causes someone to look bad or places another person in danger. And then outing and trickery is dispersing or posting sensitive, embarrassing, or private information. Now, is it really life or death? So in a study conducted by the Cyberbullying Research Center, 20% of young people surveyed seriously thought about attempting suicide. So again, that's a pretty high statistic. All forms of bullying were highly associated with increases in suicidal thoughts. Again, so it shows that, oh, one bullying isn't as bad as the other. That's definitely not true. Each is just as equally tragic in terms of what it can cause. Cyberbullying victims were almost twice as likely to attempt suicide compared to youth who had not experienced cyberbullying. So again, this is a pretty lethal form that's becoming more and more prevalent in our society today. Now, the good, this is sarcastic good and the bad. So using digital media and online technology has the potential to become very addicting. As we can see, we all have some form of technology in our hand right now. Spending too much time online can result in issues with personal relationships. So you tend to not relate to other people the same way that you would if you didn't have a screen in your face. Using online technology increases the temptation to use easily accessible pornography and increases risk of exposure to undesired sexual solicitations. So again, now that we have the internet, there's a lot of things like free porn that people can just easily type into Google and they have access to that, unfortunately, which is definitely something that as 10th graders you want to be avoiding, because that's definitely not what God calls us to do. Now, laws and sanctions. So cyberbullying is not included in many state laws and does not specify the role of schools in bullying that occurs outside of school, despite all schools being required to respond to bullying. So again, this is kind of a bit of a loophole in the system that's still being addressed in our society now. Schools can take action through the law or through school policy that allows consequences to be enforced. And some states have policies that allow action to be taken if the bullying causes a decline in school performance. So again, that's kind of a loophole for them where they can step in even when the law sometimes fails them in that regard. But again, each year, there are changes being made to our laws to help ensure that this happens as little as possible. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. This is how we can prevent this. So what not to do online? First of all, you want to ensure that your username doesn't show too much about who you actually are. So like your real name, your birthday, where you live, places that you like to hang out a lot. And you don't want to respond to any vulgar or dangerous chat rooms, personal messages, emails, no matter how much you want to, just don't. Don't give out any personal information online, such as on Facebook, chat rooms, dating sites. Now with Facebook especially, people tend to just accept friend requests from people they don't even know. That's one thing that you can do just to avoid that altogether. And if you feel threatened online, this is the important kicker. Speak up, tell an adult you trust, and then report the incident to law enforcement or have that adult do that for you. All right, quiz time. So try to do this one on your own. If you really need help, you can pair up. But again, let's try to do this one on our own. Some good progress here. Appreciate everyone participating.
Always nasty.
Tony, was that something to contribute?
Yeah.
Want to share?
Your voice just smart.
Tony's toe got one wrong.
Yeah. Someone waiting on the final answer here? Perfect. All right. So just to go over those answers for you guys so you know the right answer. In a study conducted by the Cyberbullying Research Center, 20% of young people surveyed seriously thought about attempting suicide. Schools can take action through the law or school policy that allows consequences to be enforced. And if you receive a threatening message on Facebook, you should choose not to respond, block the person, and tell a trusted adult. And spending too much time online can result in issues with personal relationships. So great job, everybody. Perfect. Now the frequency of cyberbullying. So how much does this actually happen? We hear about it on the news occasionally here and there, but does it really happen in everyday life? It's definitely something that happens. In 2015, the National Center for Education Statistics and Bureau of Justice Statistics showed that 21% of students ages 12 to 18 experienced cyberbullying in some form. So again, that's a pretty staggering amount of people. And by 2017, it was shown by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention that 14.9% of students in high school were victims of cyberbullying in the year prior to the survey. So again, this number is going up because of the amount of technology that is now present in our lives, as opposed to, say, back in 2015 even. Now, this little slide here just shows where that's happening. If you guys want to note this down, this might be a question later on in life, hint, hint. So, it happens most of all in text messages. That's just where people tend to communicate the most during their day. Then we have Facebook at 23%, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and then even now there's way more apps that people can use. And this definitely isn't something that is just honed in on the US. This is something that happens internationally. Now, here I wanted to give you guys just a bit of a snapshot of just a few random countries in the world. According to the international study conducted by the Cyberbullying Research Center, for the European Union, they reported that 6% of young people ages 9 to 16 reported being sent nasty, hurtful messages, and 3% actually admitted to having sent the messages. So that's pretty sad. Now in Poland, 52% of internet users reported having experienced abuse online or via mobile phone. That's over half. Again, these numbers just should not be happening, and this is just terrible. And finally, South Korea, of 200 plus students that were surveyed, 3/4 knew a victim of cyberbullying, and over half knew a cyberbully. Let there be light. Which is so fitting for the next part, which is our biblical integration. So, this is Ephesians 4:29. It says, "Let no corrupt talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear." So again, just for you guys, we're called to be lights in the world, and this also includes guarding our mouths and guarding our keyboards. So just because it's said online doesn't mean it doesn't count. This is still just as hurtful for people and something that really needs to be monitored. And you need to hold yourselves accountable. And if you know of someone who's doing this to other people online, you really need to hold them accountable for that too.
Pressing the red seems not logged in. Bottom corner.
Oh yeah. All right, so now it's bingo time. So you guys are gonna take out your bingo cards. Tony? And I'm gonna initially say a definition, and if you think you have the term for, I want you to circle it in pencil if you can. If not, just maybe put a little star in case you're wrong, because you might very well be wrong, but this is a good form of review for us. So if everyone's ready to go, and you can use your notes if you think you might know the definition, but you're not too sure, all right? So, this first definition is dispersing or posting sensitive, embarrassing, or private information, such as posting images or private messages publicly. What do you think that word is? Based off of what's on your bingo card. You can X it, circle it, whatever works for you.
Say it again.
Dispersing, posting sensitive, embarrassing, or private information, such as posting images or private messages publicly. So this is all from your notes. All right, so it's first person to get a row, obviously, if you've played bingo before. Next is sending another person mean, rude, or offensive messages over and over. Sending or posting mean, rude, or offensive messages over and over. All right. Sending or posting material under a false identity that causes someone to look bad or places another person in danger. Have to get a row. Sending or posting material under a false identity that causes someone to look bad or places another person in danger. If we don't have a winner, then we'll try to get 3 in a row here. Then we have intentionally trying to reject someone from an online group. All right, then we have a highly intimidating form of stalking or threats to cause another person harm. Then we have posting or sending false and or mean statements regarding another person to others. Next one, spending too much time online can result in blank blank personal relationships. Does it make it better? Does it make it worse? All right, we might need to wrap it up soon. Does anyone have?
I got 4.
I have 4.
4. Okay, let's see if this.
Keep it going.
Okay, so cyberbullying victims were almost blank as likely to have attempted suicide compared to young people who weren't experiencing cyberbullying. Cyberbullying victims were almost blank as likely to have attempted suicide compared to young people who weren't experiencing cyberbullying.
Are you playing this too?
Hey, bingo.
Oh.
Oh, bingo, yeah.
Too late.
It's about being fast.
You lost.
Twice harassment. Yes, we have a winner. Great job, Tony. That's what I like to see. I really loved everyone's enthusiasm. Great job. Drew, that's what I like to see. Looking stuff up. Ty, I saw you doing that too. Bethany. Tony, you killed it. All right. Now, just for a note, there is a post-test for you guys to do for homework, but keep in mind, again, all this information is just to note that this is relevant to your day-to-day lives, and just to keep that in mind when you're online. Thanks, guys.